Many of you ask me a question multiple times, how can I document the AJ90JS challenge on GitHub? I don't know anything about it. That's a serious issue, right? That's why I thought we need to do something to resolve this issue. Worry not, I am here to help you. In this video, I am going to share everything about Git or GitHub, README files and Markdown. That will help you to document your journey on GitHub. Even you can document your journey like a professional documentation. As you can see on your screen, you can also document your journey like this after watching this one short video, right? Just sit on the study table, take pen and papers and jot down the notes during watching this video. So without further ado, let's get into the video right away. First of all, Git and GitHub are two different things. Git is a software, while GitHub is a website where we can host our files or folders as a GitHub repository, or in short we can say that GitHub repo. Repo or repository are the same thing. First, you need to create account on GitHub just like a normal Facebook or Twitter account. I hope you have already a GitHub account. So now let's move on to the next step. Now we know Git is a software, so we have to download it our local system from the internet just like a normal software and set up some basic stuff with your GitHub email ID and password. And now you are ready to start documenting yourself. And now let's learn to the next step. For this, we have to switch into the computer screen. Awesome. We have completed the setup section and I hope you did it successfully. Now, how to create a repository or repo on GitHub where we will store our local files or folder. Let's do it step by step. Let's move on to the GitHub and type here GitHub. There are a few ways to create a GitHub repo. The first one is using this button. If you did not find it directly, then you can click over your profile image, then your repository. And now you can find that button here as well. Just click over it. In this input field, you need to define the name of your GitHub repository. Let's suppose if you want to create a GitHub repository for our challenge, that is AJ90JS, right? Also, you can keep this repo as a public or private. Let's keep it public or with the default setting. And directly click onto the create repository button. And done. We have created a GitHub repository successfully. After creating a repo on GitHub, we can connect with our local repository, or vice versa is also true. First, create a folder in your local system. Let me create here. It is AJ90JS. Let's hit enter. Then open this folder in VS Code editor. Now create a README.md file by clicking on this button. Right? Now open any terminal either from VS Code or Git Bash. But I prefer Git Bash. Just right click here, show more, and then Git Bash. The first command is git init. Means for now, Git does not know this folder or repository, right? So we need to initialize Git in this particular folder. That's why we need to write a command known as git init. Let's hit enter. Oh, I read it wrong away. That command is git init. Now we need to add that readme.md file. Let's write here git add, and you can type those name. Otherwise, you can just pass a space and dot. Means all folders or files will be added. And now we need to commit this thing. So we need to write git commit -m and here your message. Suppose I have added a readme file. So we can write here added readme file. Let's hit enter. As you can see here, the default branch name of Git is master, but the default branch name of GitHub is main. So we can also keep it as master, but let's change here master to main. So we need to also write a command, that is git branch minus capital M and the name of the branch, that is main. Now our branch switch into main. Now we need to add the origin where we'll store our local file. So that is GitHub repository. Let's open that GitHub repository. As you can see here, there is a command git remote add origin and the link of this repo. Let's copy it and just paste over here. Let's hit enter. From the next time onwards, we don't need to write git branch and git remote add origin commands, right? Let's push this readme.md file to the GitHub. So you can also find this command from the GitHub, right? That command is git push -u origin. Let's hit enter. Oh, I need to pass the name of the branch as well, main. Now this readme.md file has been pushed onto that GitHub repository. Let me check. Just refresh this page and boom, we have readme.md file. Now we have connected that local repository to this GitHub repository. Whatever we'll put files or folder in that local repository, just we need to push that files or folder on GitHub. That's so simple now, right? Perfect. Now we have connected local repository to the GitHub repository. Now how to clone other repo from the GitHub in your local computer? So it's so simple. Just head over to the GitHub and search those repository. Let's suppose if you want to clone this repo. Now just click on this button and copy this link. Now create a folder in your local computer. Now move on to that folder where you want to store that repository. So now you can also create a new folder here. Let's rename remote repo. Now just open a terminal. Now type a command, that is git clone, and paste that link and hit enter. Perfect. Now that remote repository or GitHub repository has been cloned in my local computer. Let's see. As you can see here, there is a folder. Inside this folder, all folders has been cloned from that GitHub repository. Perfect, right? Let me also tell you what is the difference between readme.md versus Random.md file. When you visit a GitHub repository, let me show you. The content of this readme.md file are usually displayed on the main page, as you can see here, while the Random.md file will not display directly on the main page. If you want to see it, then you have to click on the Random.md file. Let me show you. As you can see here, there is a Random.md file. Just click over it, and now you can see the content of this markdown file. I usually use the readme.md file to display the table of content of the page. And inside the Random.md file, I put all my content. We will see later in this video. Now let's document your journey on GitHub inside README files. If you want to document your AJ90J journey on GitHub, then you must know about Markdowns. Let's learn about it step by step. First, I'll tell you all the Markdowns, and then we'll see how to make a proper documentation of the AJ90J journey on GitHub. So now create a temporary or dummy MD files. Let's create here temp.md. Let's close readme.md file for now. So first thing first, there is a button. Just click on it. Now you can see the preview of this markdown file inside the VS Code. No need to visit any other website, right? So it's a great feature inside the VS Code. Our first markdown will be heading. As you know, inside HTML, there are 6 types of heading. Similarly, inside Markdown file, there is also a 6 types of heading. Heading denotes inside Markdown by a hash symbol. 1 hash means heading 1, 2 hash means heading 2, 3 hash sign means heading 3, and so on. Just write here hash and heading 1. 2 times hash heading 2. Now let me copy quickly and show all the headings in front of you. It's a 6, so we need to put 4 times more. It's a 6. It's a heading 5, so we need to put 3 times more hash symbol. It's a 4 and then it's a 3. So we need to put 2 times more and 1 times more. And that's it. As you can see here, all the preview of these headings. Now move on to the next one. And this is one of my favorite Markdown ever. Suppose if you want to highlight some text in a README file, then you can use backticks. Here is how you can do it. Let's suppose most useful keyword. Now you want to highlight this keyword. Just select and wrap it inside the backtick. And this keyword will be highlighted when we push this README file on GitHub, right? For now, you can see the preview of this keyword. So use this Markdown code whenever you want to highlight some text or paragraph or line. Let's move on to the next, that is style the text. Suppose if you want to bold, italic and stripe through the text, then you can also do it inside Markdown file. Here is how. Let me write, this is a bold text, right? And now we want to bold this bold text. So it's so simple. Just wrap it inside a double star. But there is also another way. Just cut this star and wrap this bold text inside double underscore. If you have prettier inside VS Code, then when I save this file, then this underscore sign will be turned into a star sign. Let me show you. And boom. That means you should use a star sign if you want to bold a particular text or sentence. And now suppose if you want to italic some text or word, we can also do it. This is a italic text. Just select and wrap it inside a single star, and that's it. But similar to above one, we have another way to italic the text. Just cut it and wrap it inside underscore. But this time when I save this file, this star sign will be turned into underscore. Let me show you. That means if you want to bold the text, use a star sign, and for italic text, use underscore sign, right? We have also a strike through text. Suppose this job has been done. Now just wrap this sentence inside double tilde sign, and that's it. As you can see the preview of this text over here. Now let's move on to the next one. Suppose if you want to draw a line inside a markdown. In other words, suppose if you want to divide a section from another section by a line, then you can also do it inside a markdown. Suppose I want to divide this section from this section. So we will draw a line over here. So it's so simple. Just type 3 times a star and boom. As you can see over here, there is also another option, 3 times dash. And boom, that is also valid. And we have another option as well, that is 3 times underscore, as you can see over here, right? So you can use any of them, but I'll prefer triple dash, this one. Now move on to the next one, that is list. As you know, there are 2 types of list. The first one is order and second one is unordered list. Let's start with the first one, order list. So it's so simple. Just write 1 dot space and item 1. Hit enter and boom. It's the first item of this order list. 2 dot space item 2. 3 dot space item 3. 4 dot space item 4, and so on. We have another list that is unordered list. So it's so simple. Just write dash and a space and item, dash space item, dash space item, dash space item, right? As you can see the preview of this markdown over here. Now let's move on to the next one. Suppose if you want to add or insert some link inside a markdown, then you can also do it. Just write a square bracket and parenthesis. Inside this parenthesis, you need to pass the link. Let's suppose https://www.twitter.com/atechajay, right? And inside this square brackets, you need to pass the link text. Let's suppose connect with me on Twitter. That's it. If I click over here, then it will be opened in my default browser. Now move on to the next one, that is image. Suppose if you want to add image inside a markdown, then you can also do it. Again, write a square bracket and a parenthesis. But in front of a square bracket, you need to pass an exclamation sign. Inside this parenthesis, you should pass a link of the image. But one of the user from Twitter asked me a question. Hey Ajay, the image does not display on GitHub Markdown. So let me show you. Here you need to pass the hosted link of the image. Suppose if you can host that image on Cloudinary, let me show you. Cloudinary is a simple hosting platform where you can host your asset. Just click over here and it will be go on this page. I have already hosted some assets. I have a folder. Inside this folder, I have uploaded my own photos. Just I am going to copy the link of this image and pass over here. And here you can pass the alt text or alternative text of this image. So I am Ajay, I am Ajay. That's it. It's so simple, right? But when you pass a relative link over here, then it will not display on GitHub, right? So you should pass a hosted link over here. You can also pass some links from Twitter. Let me show you. Now we can use this image, right? Just right click over here and copy image link and move on to the VS Code. Just copy this text and now here you can pass that link. That's it, right? Here is how you can display image in your markdown, right? The important thing is that first you should to host that link on any platform and then use the link of that image inside the parenthesis. Then it will be displayed on GitHub. Otherwise, the image will not display. But when you clone that repo, that image will be also come along with the repository. So your image will be saved but will not display on GitHub. So please keep it in your mind. Now move on to the next markdown, which is code blocks. And yes, if you want to document your journey on GitHub, then you must need to know about it. Let me write here a simple JavaScript code. Let first name is Ajay. And now to convert it into code blocks, then we must need to wrap it inside triple backticks. 1, 2, 3, and boom. It's now become a code blocks, as you can see over here. But now this is not highlighting it. To highlight a particular code in any programming language or HTML or CSS, we need to pass or we need to add a keyword here. This is JavaScript, so you can write here JavaScript And now, perfect. This is now highlighting. We can also write short form JS. Both are same. You can use any name over here, just like py for Python or Python, Java, HTML, CSS, etc. etc. Let's write here JS. Now move on to the next one, that is code. Code is used something that is very important, or if you want to highlight some paragraph or sentence. So you can use the power of code markdown, right? Just write here greater than and boom. This is very this is very important sentence, and it will be displayed as a quote, as you can see over here. Now let's move on to the next one, that is table. Yes, you can also insert table inside the markdown. Let's do it. To creating tables inside markdown, you need to add multiple pipe sign. That is the pipe sign, right? So let's create 3 columns. Call 1, again pipe. Call 2, again pipe. Call 3 and close this, right? Below this, we need to draw a line. So let's start the pipe and draw line. Let's write pipe, and how can we draw the line? Using dash, right? Again, draw the line using dash, then pipe, dash, then pipe. And below this, you can pass or you can write item or element in each cell. For example, pipe and item. Again pipe and item. Again pipe and item and pipe. Let's copy multiple times. And boom. We have successfully created table inside markdown. Now move on to the next one, and that will be the last markdown of the video. That is toggle element. As you know, inside HTML we have details and summary. Similarly, in markdown we have also details and summary tag. Let me show you. Here write details, and inside this details element we put a summary element. For example, I am going to write here HTML. And below this summary tag, you can also add any markdown code. For example, you can add divider, order list, unordered list, link, image, code blocks, table, etc. etc. So I'm going to just write simple text, that is hyper text markup language. That's it. And done. Just click over here. Expand, collapse, expanding and collapse. Expand, collapse, expand, collapse. So these are the some most useful markdown element that will be very helpful to document your AJ90JS journey on GitHub, right? And now let me tell you how I want from you to document your journey on GitHub. First, create a readme.md file. We have already created a readme.md file over here, right? And create multiple folders according to the JavaScript topics. And inside those folders, create multiple markdown files. Let me show you. Suppose you have read some blogs or ebooks from the internet about values and variables in JavaScript. Then you could create a folder such as fundamentals. Let me create fundamentals. And inside this folder, create multiple markdown. For example, values and variables.md file, let var and cons.md file, etc. etc. So let me create over here values underscore variable.md. And inside this file, you can write or keep your notes according to the file name. So now I'm going to paste some content according to this topic, and let me show you how I can format this very quickly, right? So here is the content. Let me format very quickly. So this is a heading, right? First heading. So let's make it first heading. Hit enter. This is a simple paragraph. Let's keep it as it is. And this is HTML code, right? So we need to wrap it inside triple backticks. Let's wrap very quickly. 1, 2, 3. And here we need to pass keyword, that is HTML. Let's hit enter and remove some space from here. You can also format Control Shift F or Control F. And this is a JavaScript code. So let's again format very quickly. And this is a simple paragraph, so you can keep it as it is, right? And this is note, right? So we can add quote here. This is again heading. Let's make it heading 1. That is a simple paragraph over here. This is JavaScript code. Wrap it inside triple backticks. They are two variables, so we can also highlight it by a backtick. And this is also a note, so we can make it as a quote. And yeah, everything is perfect. Our job has been done. Let me show the preview, and everything is perfect now, right? Now again, I need to push all of the content on GitHub. Let me quickly push it. So our first command will be git add space dot, and second command will be git commit -m added js docs, and the last command will be git push. Just simple, and that's it. Now we can easily see the result of the readme file on GitHub. Let me show you. Here is the output. As you can see in front of you, I have a folder fundamentals. Inside this fundamentals, we have an MD file, that is values and variable. And here is the output. One more thing I need to tell you. Inside the readme file, you can add the link. Let me show you. Here I'm going to write here table of the content. And then here you can create a link to access these MD file directly. Here's how you can do it. Inside the square brackets, you can pass the name of the topics, that is value and variable. And inside parentheses, you can pass the path of this file. Just click over this file, hit shift and drag and drop inside this parentheses, and perfect. The path of this file has been copied inside this parentheses. Now anyone can access this file by clicking on this link. Let me commit it very quickly and see the output. Git add git commit -m added a link, git push, hit enter. Perfect. Let me show you the output. Here is the link, right? Now if I click on this link, then this file has been opened. Let me show you. If I click over here, see, that file has been opened directly. So that is the main advantage of keeping or adding table of content like this in your readme.md file. You can also see the markdown code on GitHub as well. Just you need to click on any markdown file, then click on this code button, and here is the markdown code, right? So I think I have covered everything about markdown. Hope so you don't have any doubt now. And now that's enough knowledge for this challenge. Let's document your journey on GitHub as well, along with Twitter. I hope you don't have any doubt. If you have, then let me know in the comment box. We'll come back to you. Thanks for watching this video.